Hello, everybody. Welcome to a second parter, part two, another FAQ for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. A previous video, I sort of reviewed how to go through the dynamic object glitch, how to get infinite ancient parts, and all of that. And so that's a very long, exhaustive video detailing a lot of the finer nuances of the trick. So this is sort of like a proof of concept, doing it in real time. So let us go and load the save file. As you can see, I'm in master mode, and I loaded at Hyrule Field. I've taken the liberty of going through the path where I'm going to be pushing my guardian, killing all of the stalkers and bokoblins, all of that. So here we are. So everything's kind of set up, and this is the guardian that we're going to upend. Okay, let's show you where that is. So this is the overall map of Hyrule. We're going to start zooming in. This is, of course, Hyrule Castle. This is the town ruins outside, and then you can see closer. We're going to be on the east end of the castle ruins. So again, give you some idea. Right south of the cathedral, zoom even closer, and then it's going to be in this little pool of water right in this corner here. Okay, so get to this area, and then you are going to see this guardian. And the first order of business is to flip this guardian over and see what parts we're going to get. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can get a metal chest. You can drop a metal weapon and tip it over. But in terms of the most efficient way of doing it, simply just use Cryonis. There's a puddle of water here for a reason. And then you basically, just do it. So here we go. So as you can see, when you flipped it over, an ancient screw fell out, an ancient spring. So that means that if I take the trouble of pushing this guardian all the way down to here, next to the Wago Kata Shrine or the Riverside Stable, and the dynamic object glitch begins to activate and get infinite parts, unfortunately, I'm going to get infinite ancient springs and ancient screws, which is a 27,000 rupee profit margin if I sell 1,000 of each. That's like basically the worst combination you can have. So we're not going to want to do that. That'll be a waste. And so luckily, because I can see that that's what I'm going to get, I'm going to simply reload. And so in real time, we're going to reload and we're going to do it again. So this is what I mean by save scumming. So this is the part that can get a little bit laborious. Okay, let's see if we have a little bit better luck. As you can see, I have only 101,787 rupees, nothing close to 999,999. I do, however, have 999 of each type of arrow. So there's that. So let's see again what we can do. Okay, so we're going to do it again. Let's flip this bad boy over. And now you can see that we have ancient screws. And even worse, I think that's all we have is ancient screws. So that's terrible. Even worse than the first one, if you can believe that. So we will obviously load again. So you get the idea. You keep loading until you hit the ancient part jackpot, and the ancient part jackpot that we are looking at, of course, is a drop that has the ancient core. An ancient core in any combination, because it sells for 80,000, is amazing. But if we get a little bit lucky, it may be even better. Now, this actually is not bad. You get an ancient gear and an ancient shaft. Those two are the two most expensive pieces next to the ancient core. A gear and a shaft together sells for 70 rupees, and you multiply that by 1,000, that's 70,000 per. So normally that would be actually pretty darn good. I'd be pretty happy with that. But if you have an opportunity to get more, why wouldn't you, right? So again, we're looking back over here to our parts. Let's have a lot of them. So I have quite a few of these already. I'll sell all of them eventually, of course, once we get the infinite glitch going. But you definitely want this guy for sure. Okay, but again, shaft and gear is not a bad consolation prize, but simply not good enough. So we will save scum again. And eventually I am going to splice, obviously, the video. I don't want to subject you guys to kind of this endless save scumming. That's not very exciting, as long as you get the idea for this part of the exercise, okay? So here, let's take a look. We have ancient shaft, ancient shaft, ancient shaft, ancient gear. Yeah, so this is like a repeat of the last one. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so anyway, guys, I will see you on the next portion of the video, because I'm just going to be essentially doing the same thing over and over again, which is save scumming, reloading, and flipping this thing over until I get that ancient core drop. Okay, so when that happens, I will show that to you, and I'll see you after the break. Okay, welcome back after the splice. So the wonders of movie magic, right? It took me probably about 20 minutes of continuous loading. I think I probably reloaded save scum in about 30, 40 times. But as you can see, we finally got a nice ancient core to show up. So we're gonna get rid of the ice block. So let's see what dropped out here. And this is, oh, this is good. This is very good. As you can see, we have an ancient gear, an ancient core, an ancient spring, and an ancient shaft. I mean, that is, wow, that is huge. Let's think about that. So essentially, let's go to the menu. We have, what is it? Core, shaft, gear, spring. So that's huge. That's 80 rupees plus 40 is 120, plus 30 is 150, plus 15 is 165. There's 165,000 rupees if you max out everything and sell it. And if the game doesn't crash, that is unfortunately a possibility here, okay? So now we know for a fact that if we push this Guardian, okay, from this location all the way to here, that all those parts are going to spill out. That is a fact, because again, we've flipped it over, and what you see spill out at this location here is going to be mirrored at the other location. But when that glitch kicks in, we're going to get an infinite number of those. So the next part obviously is just to push the Guardian all the way down here, and for that you're going to need a treasure chest. Now there's a variety of ways you can go about this. The treasure chest is the most reliable, and unfortunately you don't have any treasure chests easily accessible in this area. There's a lot of like wooden chests and things like that, but no metal chest. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can use an amiibo to create one, and I could do that. Or if you're feeling a little bit more ingenious, you can simply drop a metal item. I would say, for instance, a Savage Lionel crusher is quite a large piece, and then we just have to lift it up and use this to move our Guardian. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good, you know. So we're gonna check things out, get this thing over here. Okay, here we go. Okay. This is not quite as smooth as a chest, actually. I'm trying it out with this Lionel pressure just to kind of get a feel for how it is. Not quite as nice as a not quite as nice as a treasure chest. Let's try with maybe a shield. See if that's any better. And actually, the shield is not bad. Okay, so here we are. We're in the wilds of Hyrule now, and we know exactly where we want to go. I've already marked, as you can see, I've already marked on the map in my right lower corner where we need to head off to. So let's just get to it and start pushing. And then we're gonna make a right turn at this intersection. Okay, we're getting close now. Okay, guys. Right turn at this intersection is going to start approaching. I mean, here's Beetle all the way here, so you can at least get an idea of how far he roams. He roams pretty far. Holy cows, he's roaming all the way out here. That's quite a bit before he actually finally. You know, you can actually see the shrine in the distance. Took us most of the day to get here, but it will be well worth it. Now remember, right about here is where we're going to want to stop. Right about here is where the glitch is going to activate. As you can see, we are really, really close to that. There we go. Moving along. Any second, it's going to start. Typically right next to the shrine. Right next to the shrine, it's going to start. Oh, it's starting. As you can see, we now have infinite stuff, tons of infinite stuff. So this is as good a place as any to just sort of set up shop, and you just kind of move around and get your stuff, get your spoils. So it's going to take a while. I'm not going to bore you with this because, as you can imagine, I'm going to want to get 999 of all of these. Now I'm reasonably close because I started off with quite a bit, and then I'm going to show you how to get rid of them while the glitch is still active. It would be very helpful if actually Mr. Beetle could come back to me, and I think he will actually. You can see down below how close I am to the shrine and to the stable, the Riverside Stable. It would be nice to move actually the Guardian a little bit closer, but sometimes that's just not part of the cards. And if you move the Guardian too much, you kind of run the risk of crashing the game. So you got to be sort of careful about that. I also made a little bit of a mistake in the sense that I'm stuck with Majora's Mask, and that's a little bit troublesome because if it thunderstorms, I'm going to have to get a little bit lucky here and get into the menu system and switch to the Thunder Helm, which is not the best. Okay, so here we go. Come on, I'm running around. You can see the weather icon over here tells you, you know, it's going to be raining or thunderstorm, that type of thing. So it gives you some warning of what's coming up to do what you got to do, so to speak. Now, while all of that's happening, I'm really hoping that Beetle is going to be coming along. And he is. You see that? Good old Beetle is walking right back to us, and this is the route that he walks on. And all we got to do is wait for him to come. Now, it would be nice to get 999 of all of these things before he comes. But when he passes me by, I will take the opportunity to kind of show you what I'm going to do, so we don't have to worry about this. As you can see, it can take a while to get all of these things. You only have a few seconds before, you know, it lags again. But we're going to get as many as we can. And one of the advantages of being on the path is he should walk right next to you, right beside you. In fact, I think I see him right now. I can actually practically see him. Yeah, there he is. Now, we're in the way. How will this game respond? Will it respond by making him move, or will he just stand there? I'm not quite sure. Let me see. I think he's just standing there. Okay. Well, we'll let him stand here until I max out then. That will improve the efficiency a little bit. As long as Link is moving, we're in good shape. Oh. Oh no. Hold on a second. That's not good. He's actually moving the actual he's moving the actual thing, which we don't want to do. Let's just talk to him. Talk to me, buddy. Now, we're not going to sell it to him. Sorry, but no. That's another problem, again, is if you have a beetle, this conversation is a lot longer than it should be. So again, you know, if you're doing it from the beginning, don't get a beetle, don't do the Yiga clan quest, and it makes things a lot easier. So you see, the game didn't crash, did it? Because again, you didn't actually access the menu. This is the shop menu, which is a different ball game. So let's take a look here. As you can see, we have a lot. We have 617 of the core, so we're going to sell all of them. And we're going to keep on selling. We're going to sell the shafts.
Wow. Wow.
And the springs. The gears.
Wow.
And last but not least, the screws. And bear in mind, of course, that this Guardian is giving us infinite springs, gears, and shafts and cores. So these 4 are coming out in an infinite fashion. So we already got 235,000. So we're going to exit and say goodbye. We're going to actually move this thing a little bit out of the way because it's a little bit dangerous. Oh, okay, I think he might be, yeah, I think he's going just out of the way here. Okay, that's good. We don't want this guy in the way here from Beetle's path, because that could actually definitely be not such a good situation for us. This is risky, I will admit, but it has to be done just to get him out of the way here a little bit. Okay, I think that should be good enough. What will happen is this stuff here should follow. There it goes. Okay, so I think now you get the idea behind this trick. I now have 0 of all of these. I'm going to prove it to you by entering the menu for a second. So you can pause and take a look. And if I have 0 of all of these, I can now keep going and collecting until I have 999 of each. I will then track Beetle down and I will sell it to him. And we just keep on going. And you can imagine with this many parts coming out, we're going to be able to hit 1,000,000 rupees pretty quickly, okay? And you just keep on doing it, and then you just hope that the game doesn't crash on you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a break. You don't need to see me do this. It's going to take probably a couple hours of getting parts, finding Beetle, selling the parts to Beetle, so you can zero down again to make room to get more 999,000 parts. But bear in mind that with gears, shafts, springs, and cores, you're going to be doing 165,000 probably every 30 to 40 minutes. And if you double that to an hour, you're looking at 330,000 neighborhood. 165 times 2 times 6 is 12. About 330,000 actually every hour. In 3 hours, you'll be getting into the 950, 960, 990,000 actually territory. So it'll take about 3 hours, give or take, to hit 1,000,000 rupees. And remember, I started off with 100,000, so it'll be a little bit faster than that. And then, of course, you'll replenish yourself to get the 999 parts as well. So that's it. This is proof of concept, and the only thing you have to worry about, of course, is saving. But luckily, as you can see, we have a shrine right there, and all you have to do is just literally approach it, and you will automatically save there. So this is basically perfectly set up, the perfect location. You have to get a little bit lucky. You can still crash the game if for whatever reason the game doesn't like you, but I think you now have the idea of what to do. So I'm just gonna keep on collecting, selling, collecting, and hopefully the next time I splice, you will see the results, the fruit of about 3 hours of work. Not bad to get 999 again of every ancient part, and 999,999 rupees, which will ultimately allow you to get 999 ancient arrows. So there you go. Proof of concept and a master mode to boot that this does work, and you can be very good. Now, of course, you're not going to be sometimes quite as lucky as getting an ancient core with all these other wonderful parts. But even if you get an ancient core with, say, like an ancient spring or something, you're still looking at 100,000 every 20 to 30 minutes. And remember that the less parts there are, the faster you can collect them. So there's a trade-off there. So either case, it won't take too much longer than that to take care of business. So I will see you after the cut. For you, it will be 1 second, and for me, it will probably be 3 to 4 hours. But let's hope that it ends well, and I can again show you how to autosave. In fact, before doing that, I can do it right now, just so you have an idea. So once I get all of these guys here, you can see that's going to start building up. All I have to do is I just have to walk to the shrine here, okay? And when I walk to the shrine right here, there's going to be a little bit of a hitch. It's going to lag right here. That's okay. This is where you could crash, but hopefully we're going to be lucky. And look, it's saving right here, okay? And as it saves, we now have a little bit of peace, because now at least that part's saved. And we just walk back and, get some more parts. And as time passes, we are going to be able to find Beetle, because Beetle has a prescribed or proscribed programming where, depending on the day, he's going to be walking back and forth and sleeping at the inn and all of this stuff. And over the next couple of hours or whatever, he'll be walking back here again. He walks in a very certain path, and since we're right by the path, it's just a very simple matter to stop him and sell him our stuff for the rupees when he does come by. So that's the game plan, guys. Grab hearts, save occasionally by walking to the shrine, and when Beetle comes by, we sell him what we've got, and we just keep on going. Should not take a very long time. All right. I'll see you again after the cut. Okay, guys, welcome back. I've been playing for, I really have no idea, maybe an hour and a half or so. I'm going to turn in for the night. Before I do so, I figured I would give an update. So here we are. As you can see, we've amassed 450,000 and change rupees. And by just kind of selling to Beetle as we go along. I'm in the Riverside Stable right now. And we're about to sell some more to him. So you can see we have 999 gears, cores, springs, and shafts right over here. I just finished maxing those out. That took about probably a little bit over 30 minutes because there's so many of them. Remember, you are getting 4,000 parts. So let's sell them. 99 gears should give us about a tick under 30,000 rupees, all of them. As you can see, it is a tick under 30,000 rupees. We're going to sell that. Let's keep going. Go to the cores. It'll be a tick under 80,000. Wow. That's 79,920. Okay, boom. Wow. And then we're going to go to the springs. And we're going to sell all of those, which is going to be about 15,000. We're not done yet. We're going to go up to the shafts, and we're going to sell all of those. That'll be a tick under 40,000. And as you can see, at the end of this round, we are up to now 615,000 rupees, 480. We're going to be good now. And as you can see, when you are done selling to him, you have literally nothing left, right? You have an empty inventory. And of course, if you have an empty inventory, and as you can see, when I go right next to Wagokata Shrine, I'm saving. So all of that is done. And if you have an empty inventory, you can now go back to get some more ancient parts. Remember, at 999, you're maxed out, which means you can't get any more of these. But once you've sold everything to Beetle, of course, you can continue to take advantage of these parts. And so we keep going. Now, remember, at this point, you are sort of in this situation where you can't open the menu to save. But remember that now that's why we're taking advantage of the autosave whenever we get near the shrine, whenever we get near the Riverside Stable, it autosaves for us. And in the master mode, you still have one autosave file. So that's what's kind of allowing us to keep our progress as we go along. Once I get 999 of the cores, shafts, gears, and springs from this cycle, of course, that will bring us up to 800,000 rupees, right? 165,000, over 800,000 rupees. And, another cycle of that will get us into 960,000 territory. So you're looking at about another hour and a half of work. I've already expended maybe an hour and a half or so, give or take. Again, roughly speaking, you're looking at about 3.5 hours, give or take, to get the 1,000,000 rupees and then also to max out on 999 of all of the ancient parts. So a little bit more grinding to do, but again, you're doing this for you're doing this quite a long time, but understand that 1,000,000 rupees is no joke. It is an incredibly high number. The game probably didn't even really expect anyone to truly go ahead and do that. So it is a pretty big accomplishment to get 1,000,000 rupees, not to mention the 999 ancient parts and the ancient arrows. All of that, to be done in less than 4 hours is a pretty amazing thing. So again, you're not going to go faster than this. You will not be making more than 300,000 rupees an hour to an hour. I mean, ferocious horn is one thing. That's maybe 50 to 60,000 and change an hour if you're really good. You're talking about 6 times that rate. So again, things are really good right now. We'll keep on making our moves. And knock on wood, I did screw up once in the sense that I did not put on a Thunder Helm. I was distracted a little bit, killing that Guardian. And so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. So far it hasn't. It seems like this area of Hyrule has rain, but doesn't have a lot of thunderstorms. Of course, I am prepared to go into the menu little by little to get that Thunder Helm on. I have warning. But so far, we've got, as you can see, nothing but fair weather ahead for the next at least 12 hours. So we keep on doing that. As you can see back in the background there, that's Beetle walking by. And so if on his way back, I can always stop him and sell some more to him, just kind of to cover my bets. Usually at around 8 to 9 o'clock at night is when he walks up the path. And he has a very stable route that he goes up and down, up and down. So in the interim, by the way, some of the more eagle-eyed observers have noticed I did take a little bit of a risk by using the Savage Llama Shield to move the Guardian closer to the shrine. Again, you don't want to walk or run too far away from the glitched Guardian. Doing so risks a reset, essentially a crash, which would terminate this thing. So you don't want to do that if you can avoid it. And I felt that the down Guardian was just a little bit too far away from the Riverside Stable for my taste, and even for the shrine for my taste. So I managed to manipulate and move that Guardian a little bit closer to the shrine, just so, again, I feel safer just walking a shorter number of steps to get those autosaves going and to find Beetle. So hopefully, you have a really good idea of what's going on. As you can see, I'm continuing to grind, continuing to do my thing, and going from there. And so there's really not much more to say than that. I will see you after the split. The next time you see the file should be with everything essentially maxed out, and then I'll just show you how to terminate the glitch and get back. So there you go. Okay, and I will see you again after the split. Okay, guys, welcome back from the cut. So as you can see, we are in the end game now. You can tell that I now have 999,930 rupees. We've just been continuously farming our ancient parts and then selling them to Beetle when he passes by. Now, there's not many people who know about this, obviously, because very few people before this glitch technique came about is able to get to 999,999. I mean, there's a couple people out there, but I feel a little bit bad for them because I think before all of this came out, they were probably grinding it the normal way. They were using Pondo's snowball game, or I don't know, farming ferocious horns, and that's a lot of work. This one is actually ridiculously easy. So I don't think there's a lot of people who have crossed this threshold. But just to let you know, when you do this, if you get to 999,999, the game will still allow you to sell things for rupees. You'll still be able to gain rupees. It's just that it won't ever go above 999,999. So you have to be careful because if you sell, for instance, all of these, it will take all of your parts, but you will not gain more than the 70 or 69 rupees. So as a way of demonstrating, I'm going to sell a ancient core, just one, and you're going to get 80 rupees. So technically, you should get 1,010,000 rupees. Now, take a look. I'm going to say OK. And you max up at 999. Now, if you want to sell more, let's just say you go over here and you want to sell an ancient shaft. That's going to be 40 rupees, right? And if I sell it and say OK, it's gone, but you don't have it'll take your shaft, but it will not give you any more than 199,999 rupees. So in any case, at the end of all of that, you can see that we have achieved our goal. We now have 999,999 rupees. However, we're not quite done yet because now we have to go here and get 999 of all of these parts, right? That's kind of the last frontier. So let's go ahead and let's do that. We're going to exit out, say goodbye, and you can see that we're right next to the shrine. This will save right here, and here's our guardian spewing out the ancient parts. And now that we've maxed out our rupees, all we have to do here is just sort of grind and get the last 999. This will take probably about 30 minutes. I've calculated that it takes about 30 minutes to get 999 of every single part, mainly because there's so many parts. We have ancient cores, shafts, gears, and springs, and so it just takes a while to get that many of all of them. And so we're just gonna keep doing it. Now, as you can see, as we are doing that, it's about 7:30 p.m. And just throughout the day, actually, I thought there was some sort of pattern, but there's not really that much of a pattern. Just throughout the day, Beetle will just sort of randomly walk up and down. And my advice is when you see him walking up or down, just take the time to go over to him and just sell whatever stuff you've got. It doesn't matter if you don't have a 999, because essentially he's so close to you that it's safer to do that. What do I mean by safer? Well, what I mean by safer is that there is a small chance that if you leave the vicinity of the guardian, even to go to the stable, which is very, very close, for whatever reason, if the wrong lag hits you in the wrong frame of movement, the game can actually still crash, which would obviously be very disappointing. And you do that, the only reason to go down to the stable is, of course, to find Beetle to sell your stuff. Now, if Beetle, for instance, you can see the background, if Beetle is nice enough to literally walk on the path right next to this guardian, and you just simply have to just move a few steps to intercept him, then you should take advantage of that. And he tends to go up and down this path with some regularity. So that would be my advice, is to sort of, situate the guardian with the infinite parts spewing out, situate on the side of the road right next to the shrine, and then take advantage of Beetle as he moves up and down. You can see in the background as we're getting parts that he's going to be in the background walking up and down. I'm also, by the way, so close to the shrine that as I move to collect the parts, you'll notice that periodically in this corner, the game is just going to save. Again, as I walk in and out of the area of the shrine, it will auto-save. So just to sort of review the strategies, you can't really save for real. It becomes very challenging, as I've shown in the past. So you can see Beetle walking the other way now, walking back and forth, which is lovely. So you can't really enter the main menu to try to save. That is a little bit risky. And so everything you have to do has to be on the main screen here without entering those sub-menus. And that's why you have to really rely on various tricks and techniques for the game to auto-save, so that in case you crash, the progress isn't lost forever. And again, like I detailed in my other longer video, there's a whole bunch of ways of doing that, opening treasure chests, and then of course walking close to shrines, walking close to stables will trip off and auto-save. Now, of interest, when you're doing this for the long haul, again, trying to get 1 million rupees, it's going to take roughly, in my opinion, I think a week, maybe a few days, maybe 5 days, and it's going to take about 5 to 7 days of game time of doing this, okay? 3.5 hours, maybe a little bit longer, a touch longer of real time, and then in-game time, I think maybe 5 to 7 days or so. So during that time, of course, if you've been slaughtering or killing various enemies in Hyrule, you may trigger a blood moon. The blood moon is usually triggered after about 2 hours and 45 minutes and change of playtime. And so there is a chance that a blood moon may be triggered. And I've read, on some of the YouTube comments that a blood moon will crash the game. Now, while I've been grinding 1,000,000 rupees on both my normal file and my master mode file, I have come across multiple blood moons during the glitch, and knock on wood, it has not actually resulted in the game crashing. So again, your mileage may vary. For both times, I decided not to skip the blood moon. I just let it play out. So again, that's one area just to kind of talk about. And after the blood moon, by the way, that also triggers a save, automatic save. So I'm just kind of moving along. Now, if you don't have 3.5 hours or 4 hours to devote in one session to getting everything and doing all of this, and you have to, leave or sleep or whatever, like last night, I think I stopped around 11:30 or so. How do you pause or how do you stop? Well, it's quite simple. You just go into the switch menu by pressing the lower button, and that does not crash the game, and you just simply turn it off. Okay, and then when you turn it back on again and it checks the software, it'll get you right back into the main game, glitch still active. So just something nice to know. I think those are the highlights of what we can go over. I'm not sure if there's a lot more to say. I still have to keep doing this until, again, I get 999 of gears, springs, and the cores and all of that. One other thing, of course, is I had previously mentioned that I didn't have the Thunder Helm, and I was kind of worried about that. But again, knock on wood, so far I don't know whether it's because I'm lucky or whether it's just kind of the area of Hyrule we're in. I haven't had a thunderstorm or lightning storm in this entire run. And we're talking about, close to 3.5 hours. You would think that the odds are that you would get a thunderstorm. So it might be just simply this area doesn't have thunderstorms. It has rain and cloudy days and all of that, but no thunderstorm. And so that's another reason why I think, this particular location for the Guardian is really, really valuable, okay? So that's basically it. Oh, there's one thing, of course, is I'm missing the ancient screw, right? So remember that when we first flipped this Guardian over all the way back in Hyrule Castle, it was the ancient core, shaft, gear, and spring that came out. So we're missing the ancient screw. I did sell that. And now in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have because, that's worth like nothing. I mean, 12 rupees each. I sold it for 12,000 rupees, which against the background of 1,000,000 is a little bit silly. But obviously right now I have 0 ancient screws. And so I do have to do this trick one more time to get the ancient screw. And afterwards, I will kind of explain or show you the limitation when you try to repeat the trick. So this is going to be a little bit boring. I'm going to keep on going with gaining, obviously, my parts. So I'm going to leave now, and we're going to splice one more time. But the next time I splice will be when I have 999 of the ancient cores and shafts and gears and springs, which means I won't be able to pick up any more from the Guardian. And obviously, since I already have 999,999 rupees, it's pointless to sell it to Beetle. You can't sell anything more to him. And so I will then at that point show you how to terminate the glitch in the safest way possible. Again, in a manner that's pretty uniquely safe to this location. Of course, at this point, even if there is a crash for whatever odd reason or unlucky reason, I won't be too upset by that because at least, again, I've gotten to the 1,000,000 rupees. And remember also that this game is constantly saving because, again, I was wise in placing the Guardian close to the shrine, which means that as I walk around and I'm pressing A furiously to pick up all of the ancient parts, you'll see occasionally in the lower left-hand corner the game saving. And the game is auto-saving, not because of time or whatnot, but it's auto-saving because, again, I'm in very close proximity to the shrine, and the algorithm is if you get close, it's going to save. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and the cuts are making sense to you, and you're seeing sort of the progression now of this trick in real time again, proof of concept. It's one thing over an hour and a half video, I'm just kind of rambling on and talking about all these different factors to consider, showing you the map of Hyrule and moving it, here from here to there. But this video kind of shows on master mode with a very fresh file exactly how to do the trick, and hopefully you can appreciate and agree with me that the trick is pretty fabulous. This is the first time, by the way, I'm doing it myself. There was some happy accident, again, where I put him and kind of understanding how Beetle walks. When I did this on the normal file, I actually just physically ran into the stable all the time to find him and talk to him. If I couldn't find him, I would actually, through a laggy, glitch-ridden flow, talk to the innkeeper and spend a night, and then wake up at noon to get Beetle to be back into the tent. So that was what I did for the normal game, normal mode. Fortunate that doing all of that, I never crashed the game. So I thought that would be the way to go about it. But now doing it on master mode, I think obviously the refinement here is even better, which is if you just kind of maintain this position and do your business, eventually Beetle will come to you, which is even better than actually running down to him. So that was kind of an extra little thing I discovered while playing in real time for you guys. So this is, again, very nice proof of concept. 100%. You are going to be getting your 1,000,000 rupees and 999 parts and 999 ancient arrows in about 3.5 to 4 hours max, which is a huge, in terms of how much money you're getting. I mean, 1,000,000 rupees will last you overkill the rest of the game. In reality, the only reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to build as perfect a file as possible. And it's kind of nice to have this ability, to do that, given back. Okay, so anyways, thanks for that, and I will see you for the final segment after the cut, when I have maxed out my Ancient Guardian parts. See you then. Okay guys, welcome back. This should be the final cut, so I'm about to max out everything. So as you can see, a couple of rather interesting situations. If you look here, that thunderstorm I was talking about, that I was saying never seemed to come, is actually coming, but as it turns out, even though I don't have the Thunder Helm, I'm about to max out the parts anyways. As you can see, when it says you can't pick any more of this, the only thing I can pick up is the Ancient Gear, and I'm probably about maybe 50 or 60 away from that. Now, it is a little bit interesting because normally the weather icon is never wrong. As you can see, it's saving here as well, so I'm in good shape. But as you can see, the weather is almost in the middle of the thunderstorm, but we have obviously no thunderstorm. So I do wonder if sometimes the weather icon can be incorrect. Just like the weather in real life, occasionally the prediction is a little bit off. And if that's really something that the game designers planned, that's yet another sort of amazing subtlety that I didn't really appreciate. So in any case, excuse me. So in any case, whether this is real or not, as you can see, there is no thunderstorm, and I can no longer pick up anything because I have now maxed out 999 of all of them: gears, cores, shafts, and springs. And so there's nothing left to do. I've sold enough parts to Beetle to get 999,999, and then I finally also raised all of these infinite parts to 999. So now we have to deal with how to essentially terminate the glitch, or terminate or finish it off so it doesn't crash our game. There's a multitude of ways, obviously, of doing it. One way, like I said before, is to flip the Guardian back onto its head. I don't think that has turned out to be very effective. Another way is to warp out to save, but let me just show you. I'm right next to the shrine, and so really all you have to do in this instance is just that easy. You just go in and you go into the shrine. Of course, it will glitch a little bit, but I don't think at this point it really matters. Again, you've already saved, but one way of taking care of business is you should go down into the shrine. And once that happens, it will terminate the glitch. Let's see if that works. As you can see, it's going down. Hopefully you can appreciate the 999,999. And once you are in, as you can see, you can now safely enter the menu with no ramifications. Take a look, 999 gears, springs, cores, and shafts. And as you can see, we are missing we're missing the screws because that wasn't what was coming out of the Guardian, okay? And so moving along, you can see this is where the Thunder Helm sits. It would be pretty difficult to get all the way from here. From there, and as you can see, I got all of my shields. This is used, unfortunately, I did use one Ancient Arrow to kill that Guardian. So, you know, we're in good shape. So now all you have to do, actually, believe it or not, is to go back in, and if you return, you will see that the Guardian no longer shouldn't even be there, actually. So let's test that hypothesis out. And there you have it. The Guardian's not there, but we are in the middle of the thunderstorm, which is rather interesting. We're going to come along back in here. I am interested, can you get hit by thunder inside? Let's take a look. Okay, good. So if I'm inside, obviously the thunder doesn't affect me. So here we are, doing very well. Here's Beetle coming in from the outside. There's a lot of things you can do. For instance, 1 second equals 1 minute, and as you can see on the weather scale, this thunderstorm is about to be over. So rather than doing anything weird, it would be best just to simply wait it out, I suppose. Oh, and now this would be a nice time to actually just simply save the file. So you've now achieved essentially everything you need to. Look at that, very nice. And you're basically done. We'll just wait another couple more seconds to wait for that thunderstorm to disperse. It's going to disperse pretty soon. Again, we're already at the clouds. And here we go. So now there is there's no more thunder. We're safe. Now the blood moon did unfortunately reset everything. So in doing so, all those stalkers are back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call for my horse. We're going to race back to... Whoa, buddy. Okay, so we're going to race back to Hyrule Castle. This is going to allow us to do so. He's one of the fastest horses. As you can see, the endurance is very low, but his speed is unbelievable. And we're just going to keep going to back to the original area where we got the shrine. I wanted to kind of show you what happens if we flipped it over, kind of to make my point. So we're doing well. Again, you know, we're so fast that even a Guardian's laser is not going to be able to really significantly harm us, I hope. So let's just keep going. Every once in a while I do like to pat the horse. They're all, of course, 100% affection, but you never know. Ooh, that's not too good. That was not really what we wanted to do. Okay. Not the best. But okay, you know, that happens. An Ancient Arrow, as you can tell, takes care of business nicely. Sometimes the horse has a mind of its own and you have a little bit of misadventure. Here's another Guardian right over there. And I don't know. Maybe I should just take the time to just kill all of these guys. I'm doing is picking up a little bit of screws, which is not very good. Here we go again, another guardian. So you're gonna die here first. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna worry about this guy. I don't know if that guy's even coming to me. We will jump off right here. As you can see, ancient arrows are quite powerful. It's quite handy to have 999 of them, obviously. Look at that! I can't even take advantage of the poor ancient core. Is that a Yiga assassin? Oh, okay, here we go. Bye bye. Wonder if there's anything else I have to worry about. That guy's a little bit further away from me than I need to really care. Okay, so anyways, let's go back in here. I don't know what the hey. Maybe just kind of we'll let him go. There are going to be other guardians here, but I'm not too worried about them, obviously. There's one right off into the area there. Okay, so I hope you remember this guardian from the beginning of our little adventure, where I was essentially flipping it over constantly to try to find out, what is going to fall out. And remember that earlier on, I saw the ancient core, ancient shaft, ancient gear, and ancient spring, and then that's where when I knew that those would be the infinite parts if I moved it all the way over next to the Riverside Stable. But of course now I've saved everything, I've gotten all the money, gotten all the parts, and I've saved, right, terminated the glitch. Now I come back here again, and we're gonna go and try to redo the same thing. So here we go. Now, so he's finally come. I think he's going to be dead here. Very nice. Do I get lucky? Oh my, look at this. 2 ancient cores. Too bad I have 999 of those, though. It's a bit of a waste. Oh, okay, good. So I have my Majora's Mask on, so luckily these guys don't see me as a threat. Okay, so bear in mind, I flipped this guardian over, and look, there are no parts coming out. Is he trying to attack me? I'm curious. Okay, good. I'm not really in the mood to mess with him. Let's just kill him now, so I don't have to worry about that. So my point here is, after doing the glitch utilizing this guardian, you see now that flipping it over gives you no parts. Why? Because from the game's point of view, you've already obtained the parts, right? Now, never mind that obviously we obtained that part several thousand times over by utilizing the glitch. But again, once we terminate the glitch and we actually take the time to save, from the game's point of view, you've already gotten the objects, and so it's not going to give it to you again. Now, if I take this guardian and using an amiibo chest or my Savage Lionel shield, etc., and I go and bring it from here all the way down to this area again, just like the first time, it will again generate infinite ancient parts. The problem is that I won't know what ancient parts are going to be generated, obviously, until I actually physically take this thing all the way down, which is a journey of some 10 minutes duration, even when you've destroyed all of the stalkers and whatnot that's in the way. So that's why you have to appreciate that these 4 dynamic object guardians, and there's only 4 of them, the one in Davao Peak, the one here in the ruins of Hyrule Castle town, the other one near the Leineru Tower, and of course the one all the way up in the Woodland Tower, I believe, is what it's called. Yes, the Woodland Tower, specifically in the military training camp. these four are very precious because if you've never flipped them over, and hopefully you haven't, okay, then each one of them, for the very first time you flip them, you can actually control using the save scum method what ancient parts you get. And so it's also important using the whole beetle trick that I've outlined, that when you do obviously get the ancient cores and the combination of ancient parts that you want to maximally raise money, that you sort of have to see it through to the end. You have to spend the entire 3.5 to 4 hours getting the 1 million rupees, getting the 1 million rupees, getting the 999. You got to do a good job and finish it off, because you can't afford to exit and actually save and terminate the glitch, because if you do, you can't come back here and count on, again, knowing what ancient parts are going to come out. Now, in general, it's very easy actually to get ancient screws and ancient gears and springs. These three show up in combination very frequently. This one, a little bit more rare, but still quite possible. But this one is really, really hard. So you can imagine if you want to get an ancient core and you don't have the ability to see what falls out here, it becomes very laborious to try to, essentially move this guy all the way, all the way down here. This is, again, from here all the way here. That's a lot of distance, a lot of, 10 to 15 minutes to, again, do it again and again and again and again to get that part. In my normal file, unfortunately, I did waste my 4 guardians. I was experimenting. And so to finally get the last one I needed, I did have to do that. And, it took me a while, about an hour, like 6-7 tries before I could get the ancient parts I needed. And then through sheer dumb, unbelievable luck, I actually got ancient core as well, which, by the way, if you're not lucky, it can take 20, 30 tries. So you can imagine trying to move these guardians 20 to 30 times all the way down here. For the normal game, I actually went upstairs, so-called, to the Leineru Tower and the Leineru wetlands, and I used the Guardian actually in this pool of water right here, and then I moved it all the way over to this location to activate it. So anyways, that's basically it in a nutshell. Take advantage of this. It's pretty amazing, and the actual truly amazing thing about it is that you can actually do it pretty early on in game. Because if you think about it, if you have an amiibo, of course, you can do it any time, essentially. And that's all you really need to get the amiibo chest and then basically flip this over. You have all of the runes already. By then you should have Magnesis, of course, and Cryonis. And then you just simply have to have the skill to kill all of the enemies. But honestly, between here and the actual Riverside Stable, there's not that many enemies, because if you think about it, understand that right now I'm doing it because I'm at the end game, which means I have the Yiga assassins coming after me. But if you were to do it in a new game file, you should of course do this before you complete the Yiga quest. And if you do that, they won't bother you. The bokoblins are pretty easily killed early on. And remember, early game, because this game ramps up the difficulty of enemies, there's not going to be silver bokoblins or gold bokoblins, for instance. They'll just be run-of-the-mill, blue. Even on master mode, it'll be maybe blue or black at the highest difficulty. So those bokoblins will be easy to kill. And then all you have to contend with really are the stalkers. Now, obviously, it's a lot easier to destroy them with ancient arrows or a completely charged master sword. If you have stasis, all of these help. But again, understand that you can kill stalkers from essentially the beginning of the game using your shield reflect. And if you're good enough with reflexes and you just save the game and save scum, you can laboriously kill every single stalker just by reflecting their lasers back at them. Master mode's a little bit trickier because occasionally, randomly, the stalker will try to mix up its lasers timing. But still, you can do that. And so technically, you can literally generate the million rupees and the 999 ancient parts, along with then the 999 ancient arrows, almost at the very beginning of the game. I mean, that is a game-breaking glitch right there. If you also just pout around a little bit, got a little bit of weapons, you can immediately go on to the Eventide challenge. If you beat Eventide Island, you can then go from this shrine all the way to this island right on over here and use the infinite arrow glitch to get infinite arrows. And from the infinite arrows, you're going to get infinite ancient arrows because now you have the infinite ancient shafts and ancient springs. And you have, of course, infinite money to go all the way back up to the lab here, to the Akala Ancient Tech Lab, and you fulfill the quest over here, you activate that, and all of a sudden you're in business. And 999 ancient arrows, you're going to be in business in this game. So again, playing your cards right, knowing what you're doing, you can essentially break the game. I would say the first 10 to 15% of the game, you can already achieve this. So this is not a glitch that requires a lot of playtime to access. It can be accessed quite early on in the game. There's not a whole lot you have to do to get rolling with this. And then, of course, it makes the rest of the game tremendously easier when you have like the ancient arrows at your beck and call. So there you have it. Hopefully, I provided enough detail with these two videos to really essentially show you in excruciating detail exactly how to get this done, and that this will be helpful to you. Again, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to be getting 999 of these just to finish it off, but as you can see, that's inconsequential, and mission accomplished here, 999,999. So thank you for your time and attention, and maybe next time I'll do a couple more Breath of the Wild videos. Again, a lot more details showing exactly how to get 999 bomb arrows, for instance, or that type of thing, and go from there. But until then, please take care and enjoy. Bye-bye.